What's up, guys? Rick here with your betting and one and done preview for this week's US Open. So like we do every single week, we'll start with some outright bets, both what the model is looking at and what my gut is looking at. Then we'll transition into some head-to-head matchups for this week, and then we'll finish up with the brand new RickRunGood One and Done League. We have 1 week under our belt, so I'll give a standings update, and we'll look to who we could possibly use at this week's US Open. Let's jump into it. See you on the other side. All right, let's jump over to the Tournament Predictor Tool on RickRunGood.com. And if you are new this week, welcome. What this tool is attempting to do is try to find out the likelihood that each golfer can actually get to the winning score or the potential winning score. And then we compare that to the Vegas odds for the week, and we see if there's any value there. So I currently have 13 strokes gained plugged in as the target score. That is historically kind of what you need to win a PGA Tour event and still get some good values here. But if you go back and you look at the strokes gained database, the US Open, you've had to be a little bit better. I mean, you look at last year, Gary Woodland gained 17 strokes on the field, but he won by 3 shots over Brooks Koepka, who was then 3 shots clear of Ches Reavie. So yes, it would have taken 18 strokes gained to win this golf tournament, take it away from Gary Woodland, but it would have taken 12 to finish second. So keep that in mind. And then we go back to 2018, and Brooks Koepka wins at 16.5 strokes gained. And then the year prior, he wins it at 20. Again, that's 4 shots clear. So I think we need to ramp up the target score just a little bit. And obviously, the further up I go, the less likely it is going to be that some of these golfers can get to that winning score just based on what their floor and what their ceiling is. So I've ramped it up to 15 strokes gained to get you to be to use as the target score. And you can see a lot of guys just dropped out from that 13 to 15. And it makes sense, right? I mean, gaining 13 strokes over the course of 4 rounds is not a tough task. So having even the upside to be able to do that, and then you ramp it up to 15, and it's kind of a different story. So what do I see here? Well, the model looks at this and says, okay, well, Dustin Johnson at his 8.5 to 1 number is almost fairly priced if you think that 15 strokes gained is going to win the US Open, because the odds would indicate that he needs to win this golf tournament about 10.5% of the time. The model has him getting to the winning score about 10.75. So there is maybe 0.25% of expected value. Not necessarily enough to want to bet it, but that to me says Dustin Johnson is fairly priced. The next guy that jumps off is Rory McIlroy. So the implied odds of him winning this golf tournament created by odds makers is about 5.6%. I have him getting to the winning score about 7% of the time. So there is a bit of value there. And we do see, weeks like this, weeks where there are 30 guys, 40 guys who might be able to win this golf tournament. You do find value in the outright markets. I've bemoaned outright markets a lot of weeks, especially when you don't get a very strong field, because the math just doesn't add up. Almost every single outright bet is in theory a losing bet over infinity. So this week we do get to see a bit of value. Notable value on Rory, as I mentioned, about 1% worth of value on Bryson, which you have the model, and then you have the eye test and what he's been doing in the FedEx Cup playoffs and how poor he has been playing. And then Webb Simpson also with 1% of value. We're going to talk about Webb, but before I do that, let's just sort by the expected value to see who has the biggest number. And again, you have to. There's obviously long-term metrics built into this. So when you see Mark Leishman as the best, the highest expected value for the week, that's certainly, it lags a bit, right? The stuff that he's done recently, which has been absolutely terrible, does not impact as much as his long-term career, the win at Torrey Pines, all that good stuff. So while Mark Leishman is the quote-unquote best value, he's in no way going to be getting an investment from me. So where am I going personally? You've got to kind of digest what the model says, what the recent form says, what the tournament history says. And I'm looking at Webb Simpson to start my betting card for this week. He is 25-1 via William Hill. And, by the way, I don't think I've ever mentioned this. If you sign up at William Hill and use the code RRG50, no, hold on. Now I got to make sure I get this code right. Let me stand by. It's actually Rick500 is the code. I wasn't even close. Rick500 at William Hill, if you're in New Jersey, gets you a $500 free bet. So if you wanted to use it on one of these guys, you might want to use it on Webb Simpson. And here's the case for Weber at 25-1. I think a lot of times he immediately gets written off at major championships because he does not hit it long enough. And if you've watched any of the content I've done for a long time, you've probably heard me say that Webb Simpson is the best golfer on tour when they walk off the tee box. So when everybody walks off the tee box, Webb Simpson's the best golfer on tour. I'm not exaggerating, okay? He gains, if you add up strokes gained approach, around the green, and putting, he gains 1.76 strokes per round. It is the best on tour. I'm not kidding when I say that. There are numbers to back that up. The thing that he doesn't do is he doesn't hit it very far, but he hits it accurately. And when there is an emphasis on finding fairways like there's going to be at Winged Foot, and Webb can put it in the fairway, and then he turns into the best player on tour, sign me up. It's just so hard to overlook. He already has one U.S. Open on the resume. I'm kind of feeling like he's gonna add another one. I think it's gonna be a good week for Webb. Obviously, everything has to go right. A lot of variables out there, especially at Winged Foot. But my God, Webb Simpson, 25-1 just feels right. Colin Morikawa, I've wrestled with. I've seen him at 16. I've seen him at 18. William Hill has him at 16 right now. I get the narrative like, oh, no way this kid's going to win, 2 majors back to back. Probably not. I mean, and you could pick one of these guys and say he's not going to win any one of them and probably be right. It's hard to win a golf tournament. It's hard to win a major championship, but he's already done the first leg of it, and he's answered every single question that we've ever asked of him. Can he win on tour? He goes out and he wins an alternate field event. Okay, can he win a regular tour event? He goes out and he does that. Can he win a major? Yeah, goes out and does that. I mean, he just answers every question, and his game translates literally everywhere. Am I concerned about the putter? Yes, I am. Winged Foot has some of the most complex, interesting, devilish greens that you are going to see, and the putting's been better for Morikawa, but we have a decent bit of history to show that he's not a very good putter, and that might come back to bite him a bit this week. So I'm really on the fence about that. I'd love to hear what you guys think about Morikawa. Leave something in the comments. Tweet me at RickRunGood. Not really sure what to do with him. And then I think you go further down the board here. I mean, I see Terrell Hatton at 45-1. Hatton's been great, right? I mean, he has been, I can pull up his strokes gain numbers here, but essentially it's going to take a different type of animal to win this week at Winged Foot, right? You're going to have to be a grinder. You're going to have to be as mentally fit as you are physically fit. And while I know Hatton gives us the full emotion all the time, I mean, he's engaged. He's a grinder. And I think that was evident with his win at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. I mean, Bay Hill, that was the most difficult golf course on the PGA Tour last year. That's it. No other comments. It was the hardest course on tour last year. Terrell Hatton wins it, playing well. 3 straight top 25s. He finished 7th at the Tour Championship. I think he actually finished better than that if you remove the raw scoring. What I'm showing you right now on the screen actually includes the starting stroke. So I think Hatton was even better than that. 16th at Olympia Fields, which was an unbelievably difficult course. This just feels like the ball striking numbers are in the right spot. The mental fitness, the grind ability is in the right spot. 45-1, especially in, I've kind of heard there's kind of 2 theories here, and I don't know which one is necessarily right. I'd like to do a little bit more research on this, but you have the people that say, Okay, winged foot is going to be incredibly difficult. The winning score might be over par. The cream is going to rise to the top. I somewhat agree with that. But also, I think it opens up a lot more volatility, a lot more randomness. I mean, there's going to be a lot of situations where we're just wondering, did you catch a bad lie in the rough, or did you catch a terrible lie? And there's a big difference between those two things. So I think there's a lot of luck. I think there's a bit of randomness and volatility involved, which opens up some of these 45, 50 to 1, 55 to 1. You know, I did the sleepers video earlier in the week, and Matthew Fitzpatrick made that video. He's 55 to 1. Do I think he can win? I think that would be tough. I'm probably more interested in Matthew Fitzpatrick's top 10 number. I think that is well within his range of outcomes. And he's currently, let's see, 5 to 1 to finish in the top 10. I think that's pretty good. That's probably going to get an investment from me. Even a guy like Brendan Todd, 6 to 1 to finish in the top 10. Brendan Todd is a weaker version of Webb Simpson. Not going to hit it far, but he's going to hit every single fairway, and then he's going to try to beat the rest of the field with his long irons and his putter and his short game. And, the short game comes in handy at weeks like the U.S. Open, because you're going to run into a lot of situations where getting up and down for par is a great score. Like every situation, right? You make 72 pars this week, you might be the winner come Sunday evening. So keep that in mind. We're almost to a point where this venue is so extreme that some of the guys that are usually at a disadvantage on the PGA Tour are actually, wow, that was hard to say, at an advantage this week because of their unique skill set that they possess, which is hitting fairways, putting well, and being able to, grind and manage your way around the golf course. So that's kind of where I'm living. Webb might headline the card. Followed by a couple of bullets, maybe a little bit further, Terrell, Hatton. I think getting guys like Fitz and Todd in like top 10 situations and maybe in some matchups, which we can go over to matchups right now. And we can look at the betting matchups tool here on RickRunGood.com, where you can pit any two golfers against one another. And the one I've been dying to get in here, and I actually want to change the date range first. I want to change it to since the start of 2020. That to me gives us enough data to be interesting, but still have it be relatively recent, especially with the 3 months that we missed in the middle. And the one I've been dying to get to, it's Rahm and Dustin Johnson. So let's just plug that one right in right now and see what happens, because believe it or not, and I think this is fascinating here, and I'm going to talk through this. Not Aaron Baddeley. That would not be him. All right. Rahm versus DJ. I have Jon Rahm, and the model has Jon Rahm winning this matchup 58.5% of the time, making his projected money line minus 140. What I find very intriguing is that he is listed at minus 115 to Dustin Johnson's minus 108, meaning Jon Rahm, according to odds makers, is more likely to win a 4-round matchup with Dustin Johnson, but he is less likely to win the golf tournament than Dustin Johnson, right? Because if you look at the lines, DJ is 8.5 to 1 to win the U.S. Open. Now, Jon Rahm has been catching a ton of steam, and like DJ earlier in the week was 6.5 to 1. He's now down to 8.5 to 1. Jon Rahm's gone from 11 to 9. So Jon Rahm absolutely catching steam right now, but he's still longer in the outright market and shorter and the favorite as a matchup against Dustin Johnson, which I find incredible. I think that it is, if you were trying to break a tie like in a fantasy lineup, hey, which guy am I going to go with, Rahm or DJ? Odds makers think Rahm is going to finish better, but they're accounting for the upside of Dustin Johnson. So here's the way that I think this is happening. Dustin Johnson very clearly has the highest ceiling on the PGA Tour at the moment. That is with the multiple wins in the restart. It is with the 11-shot victory at the Northern Trust. That's the ceiling. The ceiling's higher than anybody's right now. The floor though, is essentially lower than anybody's right now. Not anybody's, but of the big name players, right? I mean, we know the rounds of 80, 80, 78. Those are lurking. That can happen to DJ. So in the outright market where there is value in having a very high ceiling and having the ability to win a golf tournament, Dustin Johnson gets the nod there. But in the matchup market where Rahm is probably much safer, just as good, maybe a little worse of a bet than Dustin Johnson is, Rahm actually gets the nod because in matchups, that's kind of what you want. So this is, in my opinion, a really good job by odds makers to delineate between these two different types of bets. You don't see this all the time. I think this is really, honestly, I think it's right and I think it's well done. Who else do we have here? Let's get some guys that are interesting. Finau versus Fowler. I don't know if that's all that interesting. How about Reed versus Cantlay? I mean, do we want to do that one? Let's try Reed versus Cantlay. Wow, I have it like dead even. I have Reed winning at 50.3% of the time. So this would be a no bet for me. Reed is the favorite, minus 118 versus Patrick Cantlay, minus 106. So I would not touch that. And then let's find one more good one here. Maybe further down the board. Damon and Streelman. Streelman's minus 125. Damon was a little bit disappointing last week. Streelman played better. I have Streelman winning this 54% of the time, which puts his money line about minus 118. I see him at minus 125. So this is probably too close for me to bet. But if I was going to bet it, I guess it would be the Damon side, right? Because he's plus 118. Oh, no, sorry. It would be the Streelman side. My coffee hasn't kicked in this morning. It would be the Streelman side. Actually, no, I hate both. Neither of these sides work. I don't know what I'm looking at here. Neither of these sides would work. This would be a no bet as well. Coffee's got to kick in. All right, let's talk one and done. So we have to talk two versions of the one and done. First of all, the RickRunGood One and Done is up and running. We are 1 week in. The standings are available on rickrungood.com/OAD. I will continue to build out these dashboards as we get more data. Only 1 week's worth of data, so I just really threw up a table that says what the standings are. As we get more weeks, you'll be able to visualize your own performance week in and week out if you are playing this. So keep that in mind. But for right now, Drolla, Dr. Ola, D-Rolla, I don't know what it is. Drolla is in the lead. He was the only guy to have Harry Higgs, and no one had Stuart Sink, who ended up winning last week at the Safeway Open. So Harry Higgs earns Drolla $719,000. Then there were a bunch of guys that earned $322,000 thanks to Doc Redman, thanks to Ches Reavie, thanks to Kevin Streelman. Basically, if you selected any one of those guys, it got you $322,000. A lot of you had them. Then there was a Sam Burns, there was a Christopher Ventura. That's basically as far down as I'll go here. So no winners yet. We didn't catch a winner in week 1 with Stuart Sink and outside the box Victor. So congratulations to Drolla. You have the lead for now. And it's kind of weird that we are already in major week, right? So the second week of the season, we have to make a difficult decision about who to play. I think, it's very clear thus far who I like this week. The Dustin Johnsons of the world, the Jon Rahms of the world, they're going to be incredibly popular. And if we look at, I've got DJ up here in front of me. Let's look at some of his history here at the U.S. Open. The guy's played here 12 times. He's averaging $421,000 per start at the U.S. Open. It's scary stuff. It's one of his better tournaments of the year that he's played as much as he has. Some of the WGC events, he's been better, but there's obviously going to be no harm in rattling off and rostering DJ in your one and done Jon Rahm. It's hard for me to kind of narrow this down because there are literally every golfer is available to you, right? I mean, literally every golfer but who you picked last week is available to you. I think if you wanted to be a little bit different, I might consider going with Webb Simpson this week. I don't know if that's outthinking myself because Webb has such natural fits 5 times a year. You know, Webb at Wyndham. You could get Webb at Waste Management. You could get Webb a lot of different places, RBC Heritage, and feel very comfortable with him. So as much as I love Webb, I'm not sure he's a great one and done pick for this week. You know, I think a sneakier option would be someone like a Justin Thomas. So what I think is going to happen, or what I think could happen, is you're going to get a lot of Dustin Johnson owners. You're going to get a lot of Jon Rahm owners. For the guys that decide, I'm not going that route, I want to be a little bit different, I think you could see a lot of Xander Schauffele, right? I mean, he's 16-1. He's the fourth shortest. He has the fourth shortest odds on the board. He's been playing excellent. He's got great U.S. Open history. I think it's natural for Xander to be the first pivot. I think that Justin Thomas would kind of be like your second pivot off of that if you wanted to go that route, because he's, you know, just as likely to win the golf tournament as a lot of these guys. 14-1 to win the golf tournament. We know the upside is winning a lot on the PGA Tour, and he has the acumen to win big time events, which we've seen him do in his career. Now, the only knock against him is sometimes that driver can get a little erratic. It can get a little bit missy to the right, and that doesn't usually play at a major championship, especially like we're expecting to see here at Winged Foot. And he doesn't have all that great history at U.S. Opens. So let me see if I click this. Does it come up? Yeah, here we go. You know, he has one top 10 finish in 5 years at the U.S. Open. It was at Erin Hills. It was in 2017. You know, he missed the cut at Pebble. That's an okay fit for him, I guess. Shinnecock was a top 25, but the history's not all that great for Justin Thomas at U.S. Opens. So I think he would be a really sneaky option, but I also feel like U.S. Opens allow you, like, I think there are going to be Daniel Berger options. I think, I bet you Ty Hatton gets some play, just because the weird part of this new season is the U.S. Open being the second week of the year. I think just naturally a lot of owners say, I want to save guys. I want to hoard guys. I don't want to use them in the second week. And even if it is a big time event, I think there is a natural desire to not want to use a stud right now. I don't think that's correct. I think it's wrong, but I do think there is a natural desire to do that. So I think you're going to see Paul Casey's and Matthew Fitzpatrick's and Tommy Fleetwood's. Like, how did I forget about Tommy Fleetwood? Tommy Fleetwood, especially with what he did on the European Tour last week at the Portugal Masters, I bet you he catches steam in your one and done pools, just because Tommy doesn't have a great natural fit. He has good U.S. Open success in the past. Let me pull up Tommy real quick, and then I'll get you guys out of here. But Tommy Fleetwood, you look at his U.S. Open, second at Shinnecock, fourth at Erin Hills. He's made the cut in each of his 4 trips. He essentially has 3 top 25s and 2 top 5 finishes out of that stretch. I think he's someone that is a natural fit for a U.S. Open, and you're not dying to play him anywhere else. So I do think Tommy catches some steam, but I'm dying to see how it shakes out, because I think that it's really weird to have a major championship as the second week of the year, but I think it's going to kind of be all over the place. I'm interested to see what you guys do. Let me know what you think. Tweet me at RickRunGood. You can leave a comment below. It's the U.S. Open. There is going to be carnage. Best of luck this week, and I'll talk to you guys soon.